federal criminal charges against Eugene Henley Jr., a career criminal known as Big U, who used his contacts and leadership role in the Crips criminal street gang, the entertainment industry, and a youth charity to further his own criminal enterprise, an enterprise that engaged in murder, extortion, robbery, human trafficking, COVID fraud, and other felonies. Mr. Henley and several other individuals linked to him and his criminal enterprise were charged in a criminal complaint with federal racketeering conspiracy.
Welcome back to another episode of War in Cali. If you haven't heard about the indictment involving Big U, let's get into it. Now, I detailed a story about Big U's life story in the past, from his gang life to his rise in the music industry and the media over the years. Now, Eugene Henley, aka Big U, and known by other names like Big Draws, is a known leader within the Rollin 60 Crips. He helped launch the careers of people like Nipsey Hussle, and also is a face in his community. He was known for pure chaos in the 80s and 90s, and had his name ringing in the streets for violence until his arrest in the 90s. That led to him being arrested and serving 13 years, and getting out in 2004. After his release from prison in 2004, Big U would stake his claim in LA, and also the music industry. Now it's been many years of rumors that Big U has been shady, but is now coming to the light. He has been accused of murder, kidnapping, robbery, extortion, and fraud. Big U has always been known for extortion. His alleged victims were required to check in with him before arriving in the city in order to obtain protection. According to a 107-page federal complaint, among those Big U allegedly extorted were professional athletes and music artists. The complaint also said his interests were not always legitimate. Federal authorities said Big U ran his crew like a mafia-like organization that relied on his structure and long-standing association with the Rollin 60s and other street gangs to intimidate business and individuals in LA. This led to the feds taking Big U and his crew down in an indictment called Operation Drawdown. This led to more than a dozen arrests, including people like Brick Baby and also Loose Cannon. Following a years-long FBI investigation, federal authorities have Big U kidnapping and fatally shooting a young rapper in the face and leaving his body in the Las Vegas desert over perceived disrespect, and also directing a robbery of an unlicensed LA marijuana dispensary that has stopped making extortion payments to Big U. Big U also allegedly defrauded companies, donors, athletes, and celebrities, including professional basketball player Draymond Green and former NBA player Shaquille O'Neal, persuading them to donate to his charities and later allegedly transferring the money to his own personal bank accounts. Authorities have also accused Big U of fraud obtaining funding from gang reduction and youth development programs overseen by the LA's mayor's office. Big U's alleged right-hand man V and a trusted lieutenant named Bearclaw are charged with the Rico. Loose Cannon has been charged with robbery, a person named Monty with transporting an individual to engage in prostitution, and a man named Frederick and a woman named Tiffany with brain fraud, along with a list of others, and all of them are in custody at the moment. A special agent with the FBI said members and associates of Big U Enterprise used Big U in the group's history and reputation to control Los Angeles through violence and fear and intimidation. Big U tried to create a persona of being legit for Big U Enterprise by promoting himself as a reformed gang member focused on bettering his community. Authorities also accused Big U of fraud, obtaining funding from the LA Mayor Office through gang reduction youth development programs since around 2015. Big U's nonprofit organization called Developing Options has received $550,000 annually as a part of the program. The nonprofit organization received $2.3 million from July 1st, 2018 to June 30th, 2023. And the list of crimes goes on with Big U. Several witnesses told authorities about a large buy-in dice game in LA in June of 2019. The game involved a professional boxer identified as AB, which is believed to be the boxer Adrian Broner. AB's associates and several prominent NBA players. According to witnesses, AB and his associates fixed the game, cheated NBA players out of millions using trick dice. After that game, Big U directed associates to rough up AB, who had not checked in with Big U, and to get the money back on behalf of the cheated NBA players. Multiple members of the Rollin 60s allegedly arrived and were used to press AB. Big U then stepped in. The witness told authorities that Big U had to approve dice games or similar events, such as parties involving large sums of money, and prominent NBA players and celebrities had to check in the city with him. According to the complaint, witness knew other times which NBA players or celebrities would need to get approval in advance from Big U to ensure their safety at events such as parties, games, or advertising shoots. The witness said that celebrities would have to pay big for protection and also approval, or face retaliation from Big U Enterprise. In a monitored meeting between Big U and someone identified as Victim 1, Big U recounted that he got into it with AB after AB cheated a current NBA All-Star out of $1.5 million, and also former NBA All-Star out of $5 million. Big U also talked about charging the players $100,000 to get their money back. In a podcast Big U hosted called Checking In, he said every city he goes to, I check in with somebody, but he has denied charging fees for someone coming to LA. Big U been playing NBA players off their money, like the ones I mentioned before. Draymond Green made a $20,000 donation to his development option program in 2019. Big U allegedly embezzled the whole entire donation, transferring the funds in his personal checking account. Another was Shaq, like I mentioned before, who wrote him a $20,000 check intended to support development options and the Crenshaw Rams youth sports team. Big U allegedly transferred most of the money into his own personal bank account. 5 days before his killing in January 2021, Rayshawn Williams recorded a diss song. Rayshawn's diss song was allegedly about Big U, whose independent record label Unique Music was representing the 21-year-old rapper. Las Vegas police found Rayshawn's body in a ditch near a landfill on January 25, 2021. He'd been shot in the face with a revolver that had left no shell casing. Unique Music, Big U's record label, paid to fly Rayshawn from California to Las Vegas in January 2021 and put him in an Airbnb. According to the complaint, his family said Big U had coached a young rapper in football since he was a child. Rayshawn was supposed to spend a week at the recording studio and record a song a day, but he missed some days. When Rayshawn didn't show up at the studio on January 23rd, investigators said Big U and V drove from LA to Vegas to confront him. A friend of Rayshawn, identified as CA, recounted that Big U arrived at the Airbnb around 2 a.m. on January 24th. Big U asked Rayshawn why he didn't show up to the studio. CA told authorities that Rayshawn claimed he didn't have a ride, and Big U arrived at the studio around 7 p.m. Rayshawn arrived a couple hours after and recorded until midnight. Witnesses told authorities about 12:30 a.m. Big U left the studio. The dark gray Lexus that he arrived in with V was no longer at the studio. Shortly before 1 a.m., Big U's phone stopped reporting location and didn't start again until about 2:15 a.m. Surveillance footage at the Airbnb where Rayshawn was staying at captured a dark gray or silver sedan arriving about 1:13 a.m. According to the complaint, Rayshawn got off the passenger side of the car and went inside. He returned a few minutes later with a suitcase. Despite the fact that the Airbnb was rented for another day, he was set not to leave on a flight until the following day. About 3 a.m., a witness said Big U returned to the studio alone. The witness said Big U appeared to be drenched in either sweat or water. Big U told the witness he was coming back from the gym. Hours later, on January 25th, about 9 a.m., Rayshawn's body was found in a ditch. He had died from multiple gunshot wounds. Authorities compared DNA collected from Rayshawn's body to Big U's DNA profile. The result was inconclusive. According to the complaint, following the homicide, Big U allegedly arranged for the recording equipment from the studio to be removed and surveillance video to be destroyed. Federal agents believe the footage would have shown an altercation between Big U and Rayshawn the night of the killing, and at minimum, Big U and Rayshawn leaving the studio together shortly before his murder. Allegedly, Big U didn't even go to his funeral. The complaint also laid out various robberies allegedly carried out by Big U Enterprise, including one at an unlicensed marijuana dispensary in LA on July 5th, 2021. In that case, the victim told authorities he'd been paying the enterprise up to $25,000 per month in extortion fees. After he stopped paying, he said nearly a dozen of Big U Enterprise members and associates, along with Rollin 60 members, rushed into his dispensary. They were armed with guns and they were not wearing masks. They allegedly stole cash and weed from the store before fleeing. That same day, Big U allegedly invited the victim to his home, where he laid out what had been stolen from the dispensary. He would say, "That's how you rob yourself." Throughout the investigation, the FBI obtained recordings of Big U Enterprise members and associates discussing robberies that they were planning on doing. In one case, Big U was heard on a wiretap planning a robbery of people who had stolen equipment from a celebrity rapper. Using an Apple AirTag that was with the equipment, Big U and others got guns and began to stage the robbery. They called it off after spotting police at the location. According to the complaint, Big U organized a birthday party at Deja Vu for himself in December of 2021. He allegedly negotiated to receive 33% of the bar's proceeds and promised that famous rappers including Wiz Khalifa and T.I. would attend. The night of the birthday party, Big U and other associates turned up at the club. A victim told authorities he watched as several associates took different victims into the bathroom and extorted them for $30,000. In 2022, the FBI interviewed a cooperating witness identified as CW1, who claimed that rap artists, athletes, and other visitors needed to pay Big U a big fee when they came to the city or else. Big U also allegedly applied for federal pandemic relief loans for developing options, Unique Music, and other businesses. Finally, authorities accused the Big U of committing wire fraud by embezzling more than $100,000 in donations to developing options, although none of the donors were identified.
Details. Rob.
Yeah, it sounds like the Crips have been crimped. The FBI announcing
that they made a sweeping bust of the Rolling 60s Crips gang, but are still looking for its longtime leader. Now, here's some Air 7 video from earlier this morning showing some of the alleged gang members being processed in tents at the FBI's Los Angeles office. Search warrants executed at 6 different locations today. Hundreds of agents and officers arresting 10 people. In all, 19 have been indicted. 4 were already in custody, so at least 5 more arrests are expected. But they say has been heading up the local Crips gang for decades. Eugene Henley Jr. Investigators say he's been painting himself as an entertainment executive who's been giving back to the community with various charities. But they say in reality, he's a violent criminal, the leader of the Crips.
Now with all this just coming out and being pinned on Big U, he faces up to 20 years for the Rico charge. But he could get life if it's found that he did the murder. So what y'all think of this situation? Let me know in the comments. This will conclude this episode. If you haven't already, check out my previous episodes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.